right, I think we're live and streaming, so if I'm not, or if anything weird's happening, let me know. So hello and welcome to another Wednesday live stream, and yeah, it's, what, the 21st of April. How exciting. And tonight I'm going to be working on my little trollkin, the Brew bearer. She's a MiniCrate number 25 from 2019. So she's just part of my backlog of stuff. But with Requiem coming out, it seems like it would be a good idea to have more and more townsfolk kind of models ready to go. And MiniCrate is one of the reasons I signed up for it, because MiniCrate had kind of unique models that feel like they would go into the RPG world really well. And this Brew bearer seems like an excellent addition. So kind of here she is if you want to check her out. The barrel did not come with the model, but I had one of those, so thank you, Hobby Lobby. And so, you know, I sort of added that because on the MiniCrate card, she has a barrel. And I was like, well, I want a barrel. So now she's sort of like a cool tavern wench or whatever, carrying her bottle of brews. She's got her lager and all that. So it seemed really fun, and so that's why I added it. Yeah, so let's say hi to everybody in the chat real quick, and then we can get started. She got dropped on this table right as I was about to go live stream, so I haven't had a chance to do anything to the base, so I apologize for not being more prepared. However, I was very excited because I did get a chance to go through and really thoroughly clean my brushes prior to tonight's stream, so I'm hoping that those will work out a little bit better for me tonight. So yes, hi Samuel, welcome to the chat. Thank you for reminding everybody to hit the like button. If this is something that you'd find quite tolerable, then hit it, it helps. Hi Bills and Mr. Pilak, welcome. Kenneth, welcome. Oh, Queen Miranda, yeah, wish. Paul, thank you. He is currently on vacation right now on like the northeastern coast? I don't know, some coast of England, in one of those cute little like tiny homes. And it's such a pretty area he's in. He was sending me pictures of this lighthouse walk. I'm like, oh, Paul, I'm so jealous. But great photography. So hope you're enjoying your staycation there, Paul. Austin, welcome to the chat. Todd, good to see you. Adeptus Ridiculous. Yes, it's happening, and you're on time. And thank you for the updates you've been given on my Facebook page. You have been very busy. So, Ender, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Christian, welcome. And Chuck Rogers, appreciate you being here as well. So I was just going to kind of jump into it. I know there was some news. In fact, I meant to go check that, so I'm going to pull up my Twitter account real quick. I've been sort of taking a step back from social media in general, so it's a little harder to be up on the news. But I know that they launched a Kickstarter, and I think, yeah, Chili Con Carnage, so Riot Quest. If you guys are into Riot Quest right now, they are doing a Kickstarter right now for Chili Con Carnage. But I have trouble keeping up with the games I already have, so I'm like, get ready for Requiem. Get ready for the for 5th edition D&D Requiem. So that's what I'm excited about. Good, Paul. Are you there till tomorrow or the day after? I couldn't remember when you headed back. But it does sound like a lovely time out on the coast, walking by like a lighthouse. Oh, those pictures are so good. Let me know if you guys have any issues with the sound, by the way, because I did change my microphone setup. I finally got one of those boom arm thingies, so it's a little more manageable and it's less, you know, destructive and taking up all of my desk space. I actually have some space now, so that's exciting. All right, so I'm going to start on her base skin color because I ended up mixing some paints because I didn't have quite this gray-blue color that is on the model. So what I did was I took the Signar Blue base, as well as the Frostbite, and I felt like I was getting a pretty close hue with it. It's not quite exact, it's not as gray, but I'm thinking I can make it work. So that So we're going to start off with her because she's got plenty of skin to show. And so I want to get this before, because I got the fan blowing and I don't want the paint to dry up on me. And, you know, some might mention having a wet palette, but I don't have one of those yet. So we'll work on it one day at a time. What are you all working on? I'm so exciting. Or so excited. Not exciting. Austin. Oh shoot, I was meaning to share some fun pics. Last game I played, a game I played last week, 100% painted, and it looks super fun. Okay, yeah. So you can, if you don't mind, if it's cool with you, you can, of course, share it to me privately. That's completely fine. But if you want to post it on the Facebook page, what I'd recommend doing is, since it's mentioned in this live show, then just post the picture as a reply on my Facebook post if you've got it. I know not everybody uses Facebook, and I don't blame them. So that's a completely up to you thing. But if you feel like sharing it, then I'm sure, you know, we're all friends here. And it's always nice to have a fully painted game. Fun fact, some organized Trollkin creoles have agriculture, mostly to brew beer. Their drinks are so intoxicating that they've been known to kill humans after consumption. Well, the Iron Kingdoms is a bit of a revolutionary world, so it is not that surprising that people would, you know, imbibe at their own risk. I bet it's a popular drink in Five Fingers. In fact, I could see that being like, you know, the bet you take. Can you survive this? You'll get a bunch of coins. Ha ha. I think they're crowns in the world of Iron Kingdoms. You know, one of the things I am hoping for is like some adjustment to the currency system. I don't have a whole lot of expectation there because I don't think any RPGs really approached a proper currency system. But it would be nice to see something that's up, you know, not just Cadoran or not just Signarin crowns or swans for their currency. If it could be like Cadoran money and Ordic money. Laelese money, which may be out of print, although I feel like that's coming back because I haven't finished Henchhold Skulls. As far as townsfolk, I picked up 6 town guard. Very nice. You can never have enough townspeople, you know, there's always so much variety there that, like, I feel like Reaper kind of stays in business almost exclusively for people filling in RPG characters. That sounds like a tasty game. Chili con carne, indeed it is. Although this is chili like your cold chili in this case. But obviously, a play on words. I'll be back home tomorrow and immediately downloading the new Vermintide 2 stuff. Oh, so exciting. I've been painting stuff for Star Wars Legion. The Rebels, in fact. Okay, nice. Now, is that like, how many models are you really using in Legion these days? Because I thought you used a lot of like ships and stuff. Been fully magnetizing Carnifex. That'll keep you busy. Hello, Alarian. Good to see you, man. Fishing some 15mm scenery for, or finishing some scenery for Civil War from Black Powder. Oh man, some of those dioramas get so pretty. I'm so excited for Valhalla this year. We have the bolt action guys coming out, and their tables are so stunning. Like, you can just imagine yourself walking around in these little fields, and like, it looks like a real town, like an agricultural town or something that's set up. They've done such a wonderful job with those tables, like, and especially where we had them in the ballroom. The setting sun would kind of rake the sun over it, and there would be these really high contrast shadows, and they looked like real locations. It was so amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it again this year. Let's see. Wait, you mean the rubies from Zelda's a bad system? Rupees. Zelda's a really small world. Like a really small world. So, yeah, and even then, that isn't like, there's Skulltulas that are currency, because you get those tokens. And then there's like a bunch of bartering things you do. So rupees aren't the only actual just currency in the world. Plus there's, you know, it's a huge barter system because that's where all your mini quests come from. Just the basic crowns and signars, Coltinas and Cador, etc. Yes, but that's all in the old book. Like, that's not information in the 2012 publication of the RPG. So what I'm hoping for is that to kind of come back with all of the Requiem information. That said, I know there was a big kerfuffle with the Infernals and all of that, so it's possible that currency just has a maybe a more normalized feature. I'm assuming that all of the factions are kind of working together a little bit more. So we'll see. But yes, I remember they did have that, and then they literally took it away. So what am I gonna do with that? I'm like talking myself out of getting this paint, or I'm talking myself into getting this paint dried, apparently. Just gonna blob that on. What are y'all working on? Just finished a Ragnar Black main for my housemaid Space Wolves. Oh goodness, Illyrian. Is that a large model? Actually, I'm not too familiar with your with the Space Wolves stuff other than Vikings. All Vikings. I am working on one of the Privateer Press MiniCrate models. This is from 2019, so it's a little bit of an older model, but she's called the Brew, and she's a trollkin. Like, she looks like a tavern wench, you know? She's got this really cool... She's actually all one piece. You didn't have to assemble anything, which was awesome. But she's got this cool, like, krill chit thingies as far as her little apron goes, and she's gonna have this cool shock of, like, orange red hair, and it's awesome. Star Wars Legion, it's a squad level battle game. What am I thinking of? Valhalla is happening this year? Yeah, we got funded really fast, actually. The Kickstarter ended this last week. And I was out of town at the time, so I'm like, I gotta get an update out, which I did over the weekend. But yeah, it's happening. I'm so excited to see everybody. So. Hey, Jeremy. Working on some 5 parsecs from home. Nice. Hope you're doing all right over there, Jeremy. Greetings, fellow gamer geeks. Welcome, Thomas. Appreciate you being here. Let's see, Paul. I assembled my Night Lord Terminators today. I was meant to bring the Carnifex and Raveners. I ordered from GW, but they're struggling to get orders out. Huh. I wonder how long that'll be the case. Yes, Lorbinder. I did mention earlier that the extra barrel on the base came from Hobby Lobby, but it's super, I think it, I don't know, I feel like it brings the model together quite nicely. I think that's why it was added to the concept art. And so I'm just copying it, you know, as I do. I'm like, when in doubt, go with the studio setup. Yeah, I'll do that. More of a simplified one, because studio painters obviously do a lot more than I do. But I am excited to get her painted. She's got a cool face that I want to fill in. She has, like, according to the picture anyway, her eyes are pure white, like Storm from X-Men. So I'm like excited to get in there and try to make that as even as possible. You would think that when you had no eyeballs to put in that it would be a little bit easier to do. But then the actual shape of your eye matters more. And it's not strongly indented on the model, so I think I'm gonna have to be pretty careful to get that on her without it looking like a weird blob, you know. Trying to a little shadow on my face. Alright, so we're getting her back in here. It's always so satisfying getting your base colors down because it's a lot of coverage generally. Her hair doesn't need to be covered. Trollkin are always such interesting models. They are, I think, the most civilized race of the wilds. Because Ouroboros certainly is not. I mean, I guess there's Ios, sure, but they got plenty of their own problems. Sometimes it's nice. Oh, you know what this color reminds me of? It reminds me of Nebula. Like, I feel like I really nailed Nebula's blue color right now. I'm also going to be pretty careful because I had to mix this color. And then the thing about Trollkin is they also have like these growths on their body. And so I'll get to paint in some like gray, scabby looking growths, essentially. Totally natural for Trollkin. You know, if a human had that, they'd have to see somebody. But in the Trollkin world, it's totally fine. And their hair really like quills, so that's also a pretty fun little feature. Trollkin are just fun. Make sure I'm getting her fingers in there. Always better to overdo it at the beginning stages than underdo it, so that you avoid missing spots. Especially again when you have to mix a color. Because getting that to match, I mean, if you're really good at it, it might be fine, but it's not what I'm going for. Alright, let's get all this on here. That looks pretty dang good to start with. Look at that. Look at that lovely blue lady. She really stands out from the rest of her gray. And this is a nice vibrant color. I'm trying to stick to using all privateer. I don't think I'll be able to do that for the actual base that she's standing on because we don't have a burnt umber equivalent. But most of it, actually, I should be able to use the privateer stuff. Let's see, Star Wars Armada and X-Wing are the two. So I got into X-Wing. I think I bought Slave 1. Did I buy Slave 1? I ended up getting some of like the cool ships because they had like the whole clearance thing on them, and I thought X-Wing was like a really good in-between board game, tabletop horror game. And then I remember, okay, so Armada's the one that came out one year, it launched at Adepticon one year, and that's what everybody was playing forever, and that was the one with the big ships. I can't keep track of this. What color blue is that you're using? Well, this is actually a mix of colors, so I took the Signar base blue and I mixed it with Frostbite to get this sort of in-between color. So you can see the base Signar blue, which is really dark, and then this light color here is the Frostbite, and so when I mixed it up, I got that sort of color, which is not as gray as what you're getting in here, but I actually really like the vibrancy that I'm getting with her, so I am happier with this color. We can go with that. I really love the Brew Bear. Hey, Brian. Yeah, she's cool, isn't she? Sold One Eye hasn't arrived. Waiting for my in-transit Warmaster Titan. Fun times. I mean, when you've risen to the level of having tavern wenchers, you pretty much hit peak civilization. I mean, do we not still have this today? If anything, it's gotten more accepting. Okay, it's okay, Paul. We used to pay in pounds, but now the store is listed in Australian dollars and everything has a premium on top. Oh my gosh, I know. Australia I feel bad. Like, everybody, if you want anything outside of Australia, it seems like you have to pay twice for it. What do they drink, though? Oh gosh. So I'm probably the worst person to ask because I don't follow alcohol in general, and like all of the alcohols of the privateer press of the Iron Kingdoms world also wasn't especially interesting to me. I know Khadorans drink Vyatka, and then there's a bunch of brews, so I think they're just like beer folks. And what do they grow that from? I don't know. But Ender seems to know a whole lot about the world, so maybe he can help fill that in. Trollkin are all fun and games until you stare down the barrel of a Seeking on Helga 2. Oh yeah, the Seeking, yeah. I'd argue the Scorn might be more advanced. I don't know. They're so Egyptian in like their technology because they're all about mortithurgy, and they're like magically advanced, but I don't know, technologically speaking, they're too strongly themed in the whole pain aspect. I think it just sort of limits you. You can't, you know, if you only insist on pursuing technology in one direction, I just don't think that you'll ever get as advanced as you can if you were to explore it in multiple, say, non-pain related directions. I recently picked up some Troll Bloods, including the Trollkin Skinner. Nice. I mean, more technologically advanced at the price of some good old morality, I guess. Yes. This painting stuff, right? Oh, thanks, Adeptus. I mean, I'm like a level 2 painter, but yeah, out of like 10. But I have been enjoying it more. Do need to get a different color out of my little bucket from my trusty, very useful box, because there's this perfect yellow that looks almost like a you know, like a muslin color or like a gauzy color. It's a good yellow, and I believe that's from the Minoth collection of colors. Oh no, it's moldy ochre. There we go, moldy ochre. I think. Let me double check, because Minoth white base is actually better. Yeah, it's gonna be Minoth white. We're gonna use that one. It's the not white. I love how many different colors you get in the painting world. They basically drink beer. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting from it, Jeremy. There's the hooch wagon or whatever. That big old battle wagon for Trollkin is just a big keg. So, if you had to play a Troll Blood Warlock, who would you play? So, Calandra seems pretty cool, and also, is it Gunbjorn? The shooter. He's really cool. I like both of them. I don't know that I can get on board with Doomshaper. I feel like he and I have ideological differences that might not be reconcilable. If they were civilized, they'd drink dead guy whiskey. I assume that's a specific brand. That yellow is cheesecloth. Is it cheesecloth? Okay. I feel like they would have plenty of like woven materials, like a linen or anything woven. Doesn't have to be cheesecloth. That's so holy and see-through. Although I suppose it's good in cooking. All right, so we're gonna do some good old painting out of the lid at this point. We're gonna get this underbase in of Rodrius. And I've gone to a smaller brush. And this is a little bit watered down, not on purpose, just happened to get there. Just fixing a little thing where the paint sort of spilled out over the top of her shirt there. I don't want it there. This is what the other thing I love my rubber brushes for, is they'll get through the parts of a paint. The paint that have dried to the underside of it where it's not dry, because you know the paint builds a skin first. That's how I cheat. I agree about the vibrancy. I painted some for the housemate and made them more of a cartoon shark kind of gray. Like Borka, if not him, then Madrak. Yeah. They both seem very effective and a little mean. I just don't like playing characters that have a big old chip on their shoulder. Like, I meet plenty of you folks in real life. Why would I want to... why would I want to indulge in that in my game? It's like Harkovich, I really love as a warcaster, because he's like, nope, I just do my job. Honestly, kind of like Irisk for that same reason, even though he's got a few more issues. Mostly because he's always trying to impress the queen. Although, again, I'm a little behind on the lore, so I'll have to see where all that went. I'm going to let that dry a bit. She's got... Does she have an apron on? It's underneath that. Okay. So we can go ahead and get all this painted. Yeah, this is the perfect color. This Minoth base is so great for just generic cloth. I guess cheesecloth in this case. So, hooray. Thank you for that. I can paint here. You guys can actually see it. Might help. This cover is so nice. Who else is hyped for Chili Con Carnage Kickstarter for Riot Quest? I've still never played Riot Quest. I have the group. I have the game. And one of these days I'm going to go over to Flo's house, my friend Flo, and we're going to probably play it. This hasn't happened yet. So, I'm excited for the people who are excited. It does seem like Riot Quest really found a good audience, so I'm genuinely happy to hear that. I'm going to switch to a bigger brush on this one. Doom Shaper had bad touched me in the MK2. Yeah, a lot of people, dude. Like, he was a tough old caster. First time watching your stream live. What are you drinking? Looks like cream soda or root beer. So I got really into these like Zevia drinks. And this is a ginger root beer, which my brother, when he came out, had, because, you know, I'm like, oh, you're going to be out here. Like, what all do you like to drink? So I can just stock the fridge. And they're like, oh, ginger root beer. The Zevia stuff. This is like sugar-free and it's clear, so it doesn't have all the dyes and stuff. And I am by no means a hippy-dippy, but, you know, no point in having more crap in your drink than you need to. And so, yeah, I kind of had some of those, and they were really good. So, I'm enjoying me some Zevia ginger root beer. Normally, I would have myself like a nice teacup of Earl Grey tea. However, that's been a little warm for it. So, we are going to let that be, I think, brown, because that is all brown, which means this corset wraps around to the back, as well as the tie for her apron. So what I'll do is get underneath her ties is the white, and then the brown will go over it, and we'll be using the blood tracker brown for that. But again, this is currently the Minoth white base, which is very much a sandy, more yellowed color. I liked Circle for allowing me to play as a war beast, or a tree, or Discount Nemo. See, that's how I feel about Grimkin, because you can play a tree. I mean, yeah, you don't get, oh, what is his name? Cassius, I think? And that ridiculous tree setup, which was really hard to deal with. That feat, man. And Kador had a hard time getting Pathfinder for a while, and that stuff was really difficult to get around. So yes, I certainly remember, yeah, it was Cassius. Ooh, he was a jerk. The problem is, like, it's just the nature of when you play War Machine. It's like, you can lose so brutally that you really get, like, a disdain for a certain caster. Warranted or unwarranted. I mean, everybody hated playing against Haley. I guess Haley 2 specifically. And it sucks, because you read the lore and you're like, you're a pretty good person, you know? It's like, by rights, I should be rooting for you. When I see you on the table, I just want to crush you. I'm just being very careful going across the top of her shirt there. I really don't want that to look like a messy line. So she seemed like a fun model. Not too many colors. She's got like this really cool built-in personality for her. So that's been enjoyable. Now I want a ginger beer. It's really good. I think you watched for a while, the vids for a while, once I realized Gamer Girl had her own channel. I just normally work during the streams. Well, I appreciate you popping in now, Christopher. Let's see, now I have to wait until Saturday so it gets warm enough to spray the sealant on a bunch of minis. It snowed here in Ohio. April snow. We would still get that here in New Mexico. In fact, it snowed on Saturday night here. But the thing about being in New Mexico is like 3 hours later, there's no evidence of snow. It's not even wet. So I think every troll blood has a chip on their shoulder. I mean, they do believe they were suppressed by the civilized nations for too long and betrayed at every opportunity. I mean, I don't know that every troll blood actually feels that way. I mean, the ones who have incorporated themselves into society are just getting by on their own. So I would say that might be more of a case for the leadership. But on an individual-to-individual basis, there's a lot of just blue-collar workers, you know, and they just do their thing and can live quite well for it. Now, again, I haven't read up the updated lore because I'm sure things changed. Bliss, hi from France. Enjoy your root beer. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, off to my last Wednesday night off work at Amazon. I'll be able to catch the full shows from now on. All right, Jeremy, you take care, man. Make sure you're not overworking yourself. The lore got pretty hard to follow when you could actually find it. I kind of gave up. Yeah, the Hinge-Hold scrolls, they kept putting them out in these like Twitter posts, one section at a time. The last book, the follow-up to, what was it? Flashpoint and Aftershock. So Aftershock, like that was put out in sections. And so sometimes I'd have time and I'd read the whole thing in one go, like that first section, because I had the time and it's like, I want to read the rest of it. But then I'd have to wait and then it wouldn't be good timing. And yeah, so that ended up being a little tricky. And it still is because I haven't finished. I hate when that happens. I normally drink scotch. This stuff is simply great. The wife and I sit around the fire in the backyard at night, sipping it and brainstorming. That doesn't sound bad at all. Actually, there's something to be said for just being able to relax. Oh, and fire pits. We built a fire pit in my backyard last year, and I have loved every minute of it. Like, just sitting at the fire pit. Like, something about being around a campfire in your own backyard is delightful. It's been snowing here in Michigan. Oh my god. I'm going to pass out. I got the Pfizer 2 shot and it's kicking my teeth at the moment. Would it be appropriate to message you on Facebook about Valhalla? Yeah, sure. We got snow here in central New York today and looks like snow tomorrow. Grimkin lets you play as a house too, which is great. I know! That slaughterhouse is going to come out. It's going to be so fun! Alright, hi, screw the nut. I got the second shot. Oh yeah, feel better. Hey, Robert, how you doing, man? Let's see. The wife and I both got our second. Knocked out for a day. Yeah, a lot of people seem to have that same reaction. When I lived on Long Island for a couple years, it was the first time I'd seen enough snow to shovel. I was just under 30 at the time. So I used to live in more rural New Mexico, that's where I grew up, and we would get snow that would be like a foot high sometimes. And my dad decided, because many reasons, we had a 1/4 mile long driveway that was like shaped like an S, and there was 4 of us, like me and 3 brothers. So all of us would go out there and we'd shovel the whole driveway every time it snowed like that, because otherwise it would get too muddy and you couldn't get out. So you had to be on it. And then in New York, I'm trying to remember how snowy it got. It would be terribly icy. I remember we'd have to make sure we were constantly shoveling the sidewalks, because the city wouldn't do it. You don't own it, but you're liable if anyone gets hurt on it. So, New York and their dumb rules. We've been there for 15 years, and before that, 17 in Utah. Yes, you are used to the snow. It goes from, hey, this Bradigus guy looks pretty fun, to, whoa, this sucks really quickly. Dude, exactly. And there's, once it becomes no fun, then you're like, why am I paying and spending like 2 hours to play this game where I just feel like I'm getting curb stomped. Lore's pretty hard to come by since they basically nuked the universe. See, that's where Requiem is like kind of a saving grace for me. I'm holding out all of the hope for Requiem. I really, really want that to just go amazingly well. where we can explore the world of Kane, and Urkane, and the other continents, and all of that stuff. That's what I want to see. It's like the idea of going off to a new universe. It's like, do I really want to start over? Nobody liked the spell plague when D&D did it. And for, if you think of it from a TV lore perspective, you can really, lose your audience that way. If anybody remembers the show Dollhouse, they thought they were going to be canceled, so they showed, episodes from the following season, and then it got played out of order, and because you just see that, what happened in the world, no one cared anymore. It literally sabotaged the show. So, no bueno. Where else do you have? Do you have hand wraps? Not there. Not there either. She just got regular old hands. Okay, that's looking good so far. We're going to get some paint on the underside of her skirt, so if you were to look up there, there's just still cheesecloth. If I can get to a piece on the model, I don't like leaving it. I don't get to everywhere because I rarely sub-assemble. I've given myself this lovely barrel obstacle because I decided I really wanted a barrel on here. So I'll be dealing with that. And I'm probably going to have to still make some new blue because I feel like I'm getting some Menoth white on her legs. Almost in a splatter. I'm not going slow enough. Alright. 8:07. So, in another 7 minutes or so, 8:15 my time, I'm going to do a progress check and see how all you guys are doing out there. Working on your minis or magnetizations or assembly or any of it. These colors look really great together. And then that brown is really going to help pop everything, I think. So I think I'm making the right decision so far. We have a fire pit too. However, we also got plenty of mosquitoes. Just not fair. Do you guys have any of those tiki torches? I bought a few of them and I never ended up using them. And we can have mosquitoes here in New Mexico, but for the most part, it's way too dry for them. So I haven't had to deal with them yet. That said, I still bought tiki torches and the fuel for it to keep them away, because one of the things I eventually want to do, I've got a really big backyard and I want to put up one of those projector screens and get the projector where you can watch movies in the backyard, because we have so many days of sunshine and nice weather that I would love to just hang out in my backyard and watch movies, especially since watching movies is one of my favorite things to do. So. Almost wish Infernals didn't happen. They really turned things upside down, I'd say. So, and I don't know the ins and outs. I'm not in on any of that. It felt like a very edgelordy move to me. Just oh no, and then everything got dark and more darkness. And it's okay, Lego Batman, can we go back to enjoying the world? I want a world that I want to fight for, that is worth fighting for, and just watching the Infernals take a jump all over everything was not supremely motivating. That was my personal view on it. I was not happy, and so again, Requiem come out and they're well, maybe they didn't kill everybody, and maybe everything isn't just horrible and destroyed. It's okay, I'm 100% on board with that. I wasn't super in love with the Cirrus faction, and then running off to the Cirrus constellation and starting all over. Now we're in space and I know I have to give the game a proper chance. I just felt really resistant to it after I'm what did you do to my world? It's a hell of a driveway, dude. You have no idea. Yeah, you really feel it. I love that NY logic. They really went for the multi-dimensional threat when they didn't need to. Go to bed every night thinking of Zoo. Yeah, did any of them escape? Now I think of those old shows in Joss Whedon and get a bit of a cringe. Oh yeah, yes, there was that stuff. See, this is why I've had to unplug from social media. It's been stressing me out like crazy. It's just got enough crap going on in my own world that, like, anytime you turn on the news, they're like, this person's a bad person, and this person's a bad person too. I'm like, I'm out. That's hilarious, Larian. Painting Kogan the Exile for Riot Quest. Ugh. Looking into campfire, fire pits are mesmerizing. Yeah. I just want to ask PP why they did it. It's like they got tired of something that was successful and just wanted to see what a mad fan base was like. No, that stuff always happens from either good intentions of they think this is what people want, or there's a really loud minority of an audience that gets their way because no one else says anything, or there's like a particular individual who really just champions for it and they happen to have enough control and power to make that happen. Those two are generally the things I see happen. But in both cases, they think it's a brilliant idea, and I'm sure plenty of people defend it and argue it is. I'm just not one of them. Tiki torches look nice, smell funny, but it really don't make a difference. Maybe it depends on the wind. I believe the media term is jumping the shark. Yeah, I suppose that's true. I just love Lego Batman so much. He like embodies all my frustration with dealing with people. To me, the Infernal story gives an explanation for Warcaster's story beginning. It does, but I don't think it needed it. I mean, you could just be like, hey, this is sometime in the far future. We're not going to give you any lore. Check out these cool models. You can do that. Zevia root beer, is that a good drink? So I enjoy it. Zevia doesn't have like a very, very strong flavor. So if you're really used to like drinking Coca-Cola or Pepsi, you have that. It's a much more strong, almost alkaline, but it's more of an acidic taste to it. Whereas these are much more chilled in their flavor. So it depends. It's definitely more flavorful than LaCroix, but it's going to be in between there. So it just depends on what your taste is. But I've enjoyed them, and I don't drink a lot of soft drinks. Generally, I'll just drink tea and water. But when I do feel like having like carbonation, that'll be what I grab. And then other times I'll drink some Arnold Palmers. What did you do to my world? That was me when I played Dead Space 3. Right, and there's always that frustration because it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts on it because it's like, how much right do you have to a world? You know, there's the whole artist is dead theory, and at the end of the day, like, an artist can do what they want with their world. It is theirs to do so with, but me as a fan do not owe my dedication to it either. So, you know, consent is always important there. Hello, Jeremy reminded me of it this week. We're painting Cursed City and Bjorn is crushing it. Oh, it's so cute. He's got his little son playing these games. I love watching the next generation learn about these games because, you know, just wonder what their perspective is, like what we grow up getting used to. And I learned about miniature and tabletop and war games and all that in my 20s. It's like, this kid's gonna grow up with it. And is he gonna think it's cool, or when he's older, is he gonna like totally take it for granted? Or I don't know. It'll just be fun watching him grow up. Deleted my Facebook account about a month ago after 10 years. YouTube's my only social media account left standing. Christopher, you are probably a happier person for it because at least YouTube, it's a little bit easier to go down like a happy rabbit hole. I've been super in love with these videos of Griffey, the dancing parakeet. He's my spirit animal lately. So he's this really stressed out bird that over-preens. And so you look at him, poor thing looks mangy, right? He's got this little furry head or feathered head, and then everywhere else is like bare skin. But as some of you may know, a lot of birds actually have a sense of rhythm. Like, it's been scientifically studied and watched. And so he gets down to Michael Jackson, he gets down to Run DMC, gets down to Biggie Smalls. Like, you just watch him sitting on like the ledge of this rural house somewhere, and he's just jamming, or Griffey's girl, just jamming out to all this music. And the way she does it is so cute, and she'll sing along with some of the songs, like there was Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, and she's like singing or you know, whistling the melody of that song as she's dancing, and it's just brings happiness to my heart. And I'm not hearing about who is a bad person today. And then like I'll watch like those dodo videos of like animals being rescued because it restores faith in humanity. It's like we have Cricks and they're the bad guys. Then hey, you know, Cricks, they're baby garbage compared to Grimkin, and they're the badder guys. And then hey, Infernals, bad. Okay, so Grimkin are a little, I would say that they're not quite as edgelordy as like, you know, Cricks. You have your undead faction, I get it, and they fill that that audience desire really well, like all the necrotide and the way their faction works, and they're devoted to Torek, and they worship this dragon father, and this whole blight thing. And I mean, it's not my favorite faction, but I definitely think that they are a well fleshed out faction. The Grimkin are like sort of a quasi, yeah, they're bad guys because they were repurposing people who are bad in life to come out and be demons to go reap out vengeance on bad people. So it's sort of like a vigilante justice kind of faction in that regard. You don't get any of that sense on the tabletop because everybody's, you know, fights whatever, but in the lore it's more that way. Then the Infernals are, it's like, one, why do the Infernals care about this world? Like, they just live out in the void, and, you know, there was some deal with Thamar and blah, 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 and then they come and do this reaping, but it still seems like beneath them to be messing around with the life forms of Cain. And then to make them a playable faction is kind of weird, and I know a lot of people like it, and they are cool-looking models, but it's just not a direction I would have gone, especially since there's not anything balancing that out, and I think that might be what you're getting at as far as, like, is there a friendly group of people? Yeah, there's so many potential factions of the world of Zoo that you could have, like, I guess they kind of did that with Crucible Guard. It's just like a limited faction, right? But Crucible Guard I don't think are bad. And they were also quite popular. But they're just sort of, because they're never going to really let anybody be just an objectively good person. And so it's sort of like you get plain neutral people and then bad. And plain neutral people and bad. And so it always feels like you just get bad because there's not really anything that's good to balance, if that makes sense. Glass of water is more flavorful than LaCroix. I will prefer water to LaCroix generally. Grimkin good compared to Infernals they are. Yeah, you're right. Grimkin are forever good boys. They're almost more innocent, like they have this very specific view and approach to the world. And whereas I think Infernals are like the Billie Eilish song, "We're the bad guys," like that's their theme music. And I was like, okay. And I think I'm just almost too old for that stuff anymore. Hey, Kahneman Studio, welcome. Viper Taha, welcome to the chat. We're just yapping about some more. I'm painting the Brew Bearer, MiniCrate number 25. I was talking about how I want to get more townsfolk looking models in anticipation for Requiem when it comes out, which may be out in time for Valhalla. So, so many things to be excited about. So here's your progress so far. I've really just been getting base coats on. We got to do the brown next, I think. And then I'm going to add some awesome orange color to her hair, like an fiery orangey red. So that's where we're at. But I'm late. Progress check, everybody. I know some of you already volunteered it, but where are you guys at with your modeling? For those of you who haven't already stated it. Christopher, my kids are 12, 8. They both love painting the figures and playing the games. There's a picture somewhere of my daughter on my lap a couple of years ago, painting Space Marines, bright pink and purple. That's pretty awesome. It's like one of those precious moments. Grimkin are just cute and fuzzy. They also go good with white wine sauce. Grimkin just seem like Halloween Land employees, to an extent. That's why I love Grimkin. More punishment. Oh, Kitty! Oh, I saw your Facebook picture a while back. You'd updated. You look so pretty. So, just want to let you know. I hope you're doing well over there. Having a good time. Love your style. Thomas, bad guys have the cool outfits, which is why I picked Cricks for my faction years ago. But I mean, it's always the same outfits. Like, everybody can dress, like, anybody, I remember when The Matrix came out. I remember when everybody dressed as characters from The Matrix, who admittedly weren't bad guys. Nobody was dressing up as Mr. Smith. They were all dressing up as Neo. So you don't have to be a bad guy to have good style. Just saying. Actually, oh man, just dawned on me. And I know this is like out of nowhere, but tangent. So I'm sure as many of you know, The Fifth Element is kind of a fantastic, weird, perfect storm of a movie, because there's a lot to be said for it. But like the art direction of it and the style, I would love to see more that direction, like cheesy sci-fi as a faction. Like if they had a Warcaster faction that really kind of looked like characters out of Fifth Element, that would probably be what I played. Because like, anime looking mech armor, it's never really appealed to me. But like that kind of weird sci-fi does. I don't know if I'm in the minority for that though, or if it would just be sort of a palate cleanser and help you distinguish the factions from each other. Play Signar, just so much blue. You can't possibly show me a Skin and Moans and convince me that thing is good. Fair point. But I suppose there's technically a justification. Like a Skin and Moans wasn't an innocent creature in life. It was a bad person, supposedly, by whatever standard that is then repurposed as a demon. So yes, a Skin and Moans is a villain, is bad, but it doesn't represent like stolen innocence the way the Cricks will come and raid, like fishing towns and just pillage and murder innocent people. Like that is always going to be worse in my mind. Whereas, in the Grimkin, does the punishment fit the crime? Oh boy, isn't that a question. But at least there's like technically some justification instead of, I don't know, you have it, I want it, I'm going to go conquer you now and take it. And then innocent people die without any chance of defending themselves. And that'll always bother me more. Like, it's just not fair. I like that Crix had some sick female pirates. Oh yeah. Like the Styxis are an entirely female race. If a Styxis male is born, it's killed. Like there's no room for them. They're essentially abominations. It's like a male calico cat. You just can't have them. And so because it's an all-female faction, they literally go steal human men, from like fishing towns and stuff to procreate. So yeah, that is a matriarchy right there. They're punishers under You Won't Lose Face if you're a decent person. You won't lose your face if you're a decent person. Just gave me huge bad vibes. And that's totally valid, man. I'm just explaining how like I more logic it out for me, but yeah, to each his own on that. Building some relic Terminators while looking shamefully at my unbuilt War Machine models. You know what? It's always just potential. I've had to long get used to that. Oh, I miss you too, kitty. I know. If I ever get up that way, I'm definitely going to message you guys, though, because I want to see your new plays. So your choice in music is, what, anything melancholic? Hi, Andrew Bird's Beat Still My Heart. My music choice is all over the place. I would like to sit alongside to a grim kid in the bus, is all I'm saying. Okay. Fifth Element, Valerian sort of scratches that itch. Really? So I felt like Valerian tried to, if we're talking about the movie, I haven't read the graphic novel. Valerian felt so, what is it? Soulless, I guess? Like there was zero chemistry between the main characters at all. Like I kind of thought for a long time they were brother and sister, like nothing between them at all. And so it just didn't have like the same charm. And so I wonder if it might have been just like overproduced, or if there was a weird direction they were given, or maybe they weren't really like necessarily the right cast. I don't know. But Valerian had a very empty feel to me. Like cool looking world, like all the potential was there, but just didn't work for me. Ruby Rod. Ruby Rod. Still one of Chris Tucker's best roles. I know he annoys so many people, but man, he embraces that character. I think he did a great job. Weird sci-fi is pretty nice. I would see something similar to that. I could see something similar to that in Warcaster, right? Like, would you think like the Marcher, like more scrappy faction might have been that way, but maybe there will be like another one down the road and they get to be all, you know, Mad Max more style and meets Fifth Element. That would be awesome. Super green. And it works pretty well. I want a game that has the aesthetic and feel of the Mummy movie. Huh. The problem is, it's a bunch of, like, I mean, essentially Indiana Jones kind of stuff. I feel like that would be more of an exploration game, like a board game, than a tabletop war game. Unless maybe it was a competitive find the relic kind of thing. So you could maybe do something like that. But yeah, I don't know of anything that's like that. Are you guys familiar with anything that fits the feel and the aesthetic of the Mummy? Like that Egyptian archaeology kind of feel? Kind of like the twisted Metal Gear Revenge when you find out all the enemy soldiers are innocent people being remote controlled. Yeesh! Fifth Element, the board game. Toss me Mila Jovovich Mini in a faction and I'm there. She seems super cool. Mummy faction and zoo. PP please. Oh my gosh, right? Wouldn't that be awesome? Especially if they were like mummies, right? I mean, if you really went that direction, all like Necron style. I'm on the staycation on the coast at the minute. My laptop was acting glitchy. Raspberry Pi won't connect to the internet, so phone it is. You're doing great, Paul. And the audience is being, of course, delightful as usual. Do I paint more starter box rebels or one of the expansion squads? I can't decide. Send opinions. Well, what would be the purpose of painting another starter box? If the purpose is to get other people to play and you want to play against painted minis, then do the starter box. But if you're just expanding your faction, then for me, I guess I would just be working on the expansion squads. That's my opinion. What does the chat say? Ever thought of getting into Underworlds, Miranda? Only a couple models in each warband. Yes, I actually do. I have Warhammer I bought a bunch of the factions, and I actually really enjoyed playing it. It ended up being really hard to film so far. Anyway, I haven't troubleshot it in a while. But yeah, I got Shadespire and a bunch of them after that. I got Beastgrave recently, last year. And so I've got like tons of cool well-painted warbands. I was painting them, Flo was painting them, and they're really cool. I just need to get back to doing it because those games are quick, you know, and I couldn't decide how popular it would be. Like, you always have to kind of debate how much time it takes to do a battle report to like how many people are really going to watch it, and I haven't really done the market research to see how popular Underworlds is to watch right now, and I don't know that it really compares to even something like Space Hulk, which I still need to sit and edit. I mean, and that has a great market, but I've been really bad at, I think the word is time management. I'm failing at that. But yes, I actually quite enjoyed. The only thing I didn't like about Underworld is I suck at card building, like deck building. Just, it is not a strength of mine. It's not really like something I'm excited or interested in doing. And so, I don't know if anybody of you guys remember like Dylan from Media Glitch, but he's more into that, and so I'm like, build these decks for me, please. And then I would just use them. Like, I don't want to mess around, sitting around all day building decks. Like, that is uninteresting. But the game itself I thought was fun. I would play Benny. Your strength gives me strength. Possibly Perilous Table fits that. It's all kinds of different monster themes in a style like X-Files, and it's mini-agnostic. Hey there, Travis. How you doing, man? Sam. Okay, possibly Perilous Tales. So, Kitty, if you're still in the chat, you might check that one out. IJ in The Lost Ark. The story would happen even if Indy wasn't there. Oh, yeah, I know. I've seen the videos about that. It's almost up there with the video about how, what's his name? The really annoying character from the Star Wars prequels. Jar Jar Binks was really a Sith Lord. The Mummy movie would remind me of some Call of Cthulhu RPG miniatures. Archaeologists and monsters may have had a mummy miniature. I can see that. Night, Ben. Thanks for coming out. Don't know if you chatted about it, but what do you think of Karchev and Deathjack? Malignant fusion. Initially? Let me look it up because I don't know that I've seen this. Malignant fusion, line of sight. Oh my goodness. The world ended. The Grey Lord Karchev, all the terrible, fell in battle. The Warjack chassis carrying his withered mortal remains was shredded, leaving him to crawl along using his sole functioning mechanical limb. Yet Karchev is too stubborn to die, which is a feature I have always liked about him. Even when the when the Cephalics kidnapped him. And then the Negra kidnapped him. Whatever. He found the remains of the Death Jack and Nightmare Helljack. Oh no. I don't know how I feel about that. So, who rules? Whose personality takes over? Like, Death Jack's a demon, as far as I can tell, is he not? Excuse me, but what? Alright, so I'm on warmachineuniversity.com looking this up. So, in the battle wreckage nearby, Karchev found the remains of the Death Jack, a nightmare Helljack of legend. Karchev knew the creature drew much of its power from the enormous skulls of hate fused to it, which were said to regenerate its hull. Thus, Karchev tore the skulls from the ruined Deathjack and clamped them to his own metal frame. The fusion of the two created a mechanical horror. Karchev's mind constantly pitted against the Deathjack's horrific intent to control their shared body. Karchev has control, but only for now. The unholy terror they've become cares not for loot or gear, fortune or glory. It exists only to destroy. So I feel like there's probably a roll you make at the beginning of running him to see who's in control that turn. Hate infused. Meat. Oh my gosh, what am I looking at? When am I going to see a good guy in War Machine again? I love Ender's response. Teasing us in space. Dude, I swear it's gonna happen. You're looking for inspiration in that heavy metal kind of gear. Try Dark Suns D&D with the diesel steampunk. See, I don't know how... I never feel like they do steampunk or diesel punk very well. Like, that's why I liked the Iron Kingdoms. Night Condiment Studios, appreciate you being here. Eric Swinson did an incredible job painting Karchev Deathjack. No, the arc would have ended up in a lost American warehouse. Both. Karchev fights for control, yeah. Bro, I'm freaking shocked. I think War Budgies is done. Oh, has he? I told you I've been, like, out of the loop. The hell is happening in Riot Quest? Well, it's a Riot Quest model, and I assume also... Let me see, what does it say here? Yeah, Riot Quest and then Warcaster. All Warcasters come with a stack of standard special rules, most notably being awesome. So he's a construct, which he was... Well, no, he was a living model before. Hate infused. The S-boxes of this model's damage could represent the Skulls of Hate system. While this model's Skills of Hate system is not crippled, it gains +2 focus. Meat for the beast. Once during each of your turns, when a model in this model's battle group destroys an enemy model with a melee attack, while in this model's control range, immediately after the attack is resolved, this model can cast a spell without spending focus. Monster in the Machine, Karchev and Deathjack is both a living model and a construct model, but neither a Warjack or a warrior model. Karchev and Deathjack has a damage grid and it suffers damage like Warjack. Karchev and Deathjack can make slam, trample, and throw power attacks without spending focus, but cannot make throw power attacks while its open fist is crippled. Normal. Effects modifying the amount of damage or damage to or the manner in which the damage is applied to a Warjack also apply to him. Karchev cannot spend focus points to remove damage. Oh wow, that weapon has his freaking range 10 weapon has Shadowbind on it. Not bad, not bad. But it's a Necro Claw and a Sunderer. One open fist. What the hell? Thanks, Travis. I mean, not like it's your fault. In Riot Quest, Infernals won and broke the world. Yeah. And then Karchev showed those Skulls of Hate what hate really was. Nice. What's a good guy? I mean, we all seem to know what a bad guy is, so not that, I guess. Laughs in Warhammer 40k. Dude, that's why I have never been able to get into any of the 40k RPGs, because it's like, oh, you're a factory worker, your life is terrible. Or you're a rogue and you're being chased and, hunted down and your life is terrible. Or you're a space marine, you have no free will and your life is terrible. It's like, what is the world we're fighting for again? So, that's just me. I'd say Princess Dolores Graciela is the new good guy. I'll take it. Disney princess with all of the guns. Yes, you did. But that's fine. That's what these chats are about. I love him. I like his old man, just stubbornness. Because I've met people like him, right? I've known that personality type, or how I think of his personality type is just completely cantankerous and an indomitable will. But man, that's a bold step to be taking on. I mean, it's like putting on a Lich King crown. I don't know how long you get to keep that up for. Although we know that Karchev does have an inordinate stamina for this stuff. In 40k, they're heroes, but no good guys. Just law and chaos. Not even mad. I'm just trying to take the info in. So conflicted about 40k. I love the setting. Can't stand GW. Bad guy equals Travis. No. I haven't met him. Travis is nicer than he lets on in chat. Cantankerous Rex will not die. Hey, I play good guys. Let's get some brown on this model show. That was crazy. Karchev and Deathjack. You think of Deathjack and you're like, oh, he's so scary. But now he's yes, he was always playable. Yes, I get that. But almost feels like it's too much. I always thought in 40k, the demon princes and stuff were too much as well to keep up with. To really have a proper battle. You're like, how? This is a demon prince. These models are so crazy. But 40k is definitely not shy from the more aspect, spelled M-O-A-R. R. Ooh, she's gonna look so good in her cute little bar outfit thing. It's a corset. Yeah, it's properly a corset. I can say one thing. I like the nickname DJ Karchev. Karchev, that's quality. You're fighting for the human race, not just a world. That's true. That's a fair point. Infernos are following through on their contract. Yes, I know. But not all contracts are fair. Especially where consent is involved. Interesting thing about 40k, also when you say, what are we fighting for? They're chaos gods and they're after your soul, therefore it's an afterlife you strive for. So, I've recognized, or if my understanding of the warp is that it's essentially hell, which is why I always thought, or why I kind of always figured Event Horizon was a 40k kind of movie. But, I mean, is there talk of an actual proper afterlife in 40k? I never got that impression. It always seemed like it was, life sucks and then you die. Brr. But if there's an actual, and is that something that the Emperor manifests or controls or anything? What talk of the afterlife is there? I thought you just got sucked into the warp and destroyed. Not if you're fighting for chaos. The Covenant of Minoth became a living genie thing, yeah. Totally got fed up with the 40k grimdark stuff, just became all so tiresome. I'm feeling AOS more. Doesn't take itself so seriously. Dark Heresy was fun. dark but good. Yeah, I hadn't played Dark Heresy. I have friends who have played it, and so I would just ask questions about it, and I don't know, maybe they were just trying to put me off of it, but it did not sound super fun. She's coming together all right. She's got such a great, like, such a nice model. Admittedly, part of me is just still very happy that it was not a model that had to be glued together. Like, this was all just a one-piece assembly. Very nice work on the mold maker part. If you have a soul, there's all kinds of things with gods, other planes of existence and all that. Okay. Circle has some good guys. Baldur's a genuinely good dude. Kaya prefers the company of wolves, but who can blame her? And Grail is a well-meaning idiot. See, and I've always gotten, like, I've never been excited about the trope of, like, oh, if you're a good guy, you're dumb. Like, no, you just have to play by more rules. Like, that doesn't make you dumb. But, and I don't know that that's what's happening here. I always felt the warp was the afterlife. Well, in that case, that's terrible. In 40K, when you die, your soul goes to the warp and tries to survive. Well, then how? Because, like, okay, in the Iron Kingdoms, you have Cain, the proper life, and then you have Urkane, which is the underworld. As far as I can tell, it actually sort of is very close representation to the Upside Down in Stranger Things. But there are bastions of safety in Urkane. There's the City of Man that Menoth has. There's the much less safe city that Thamar resides over. Morrow has like a protective city that your soul goes to and then maintains its own existence there. And then there's like the rest of the wild gnawing of teeth or gnashing of teeth or whatever you call it, areas that are more dangerous. I don't know of any safe place in the warp. As far as I know, most souls don't last long in the warp. Then why? You die your soul. Like, Eldar for sure know the warp is their afterlife unless they prevent it. The Emperor doesn't do crap. Okay, then. I think Chromag is also pretty chill. Chromag has some temper problems. The warp is the realm of souls, so no going there now. Chromag just wants to cut you up and eat your heart. Thank you. I appreciate that. You are so much further along in all of your painting stuff. I love watching your progress, or you comment on your progress of how many models you've gotten behind you. It's, you know, it's encouraging. It's like, yeah, this is totally doable. Someday I'll get there. So I appreciate your posts. You can have my heart. I always get terrified to paint my MiniCrate models. These are really fun to paint, like, on stream, because they're usually not terribly, like, crazy complicated models. Like, if I were to finish up my Old Witch 2 or something on stream, I just don't think I'd get anywhere, because she's a very intimidating model. Even though she's mostly painted already. But, like, that would be something I would just generally record and then edit later. Boop. Saw earlier Marvel Crisis Protocol are releasing a Mr. Sinister mini, my favorite X-Men villain. Nice. Got my hands on the Swamp Siren from MiniCrate for a reasonable price. I'm really looking forward to the line of sight dropping an article on a Gatorman Brawl Machine list. Ooh. Yeah, Urkane is much, much safer than the Warp. Right, I mean, the Grimkin, like, thrived and sort of came back out of Urkane, but, I don't know. At least in my limited understanding of the Warp, it has just seemed like a straight hell dimension, not an afterlife. And it's just ruled by demons. think 40k, in 40k the warp is a psychic reflection of passions and souls that exist in real space. There's a lot of descriptions. The old Chaos Codex have here somewhere, oh, that you have somewhere there. It's pretty neat reading. Is the warp really concerned with souls? I always assumed it was more psionic than spiritual. If I recall correctly, the warp was relatively benign until corrupted by real world. Oh, really? Crimex just wants a big friendly hug, with axes and teeth and blood. Elder souls are eaten in the warp by Slanesh, so there's that worry. The infinite circuits have purpose to save them. Infinity circuits, oh, okay. Oh, there's two, it's scary as hell paint. Yeah, she was. I actually did sub-assembly that model, and I think that was the appropriate decision. But I feel really good about where I got her little figure to. It's just painting the rest of little Scrapjack, who is one of my very, very favorite warjacks in all of the game. So, I need to, you know, do right by the little guy. In some weird way, the Chaos Gods are kind of like whirlpools of like-minded souls, but from what I understand, the average souls are basically demon food. Oh, the bestest boy, Commodog Barkovich, the Iron Wolf, is available as a model you can buy in the Kickstarter. Oh, really? Fine. I guess I'll be checking that out after. Still have Flash. I finally filled out my backer kit for Requiem, and I bought like an extra $100 of miniatures. I was like, I want that one. I want that one. Where are these models coming from? I was surprised how many of them I already owned, though, so that felt good. The Iron Wolf. Dang it, that does sound adorable. No. Still have flashbacks to Old Witch 2, that's right. You worked your butt off on that one. In 40k, is it possible not to have a soul and those people can become Imperial Assassins? Oh, it is possible. Is that what like the Calidus Assassins and the Vindicare Assassins are, or is that something else? Because I thought they were totally different species. Christopher Dudley, you're so right. GW is weird, like the Katy Perry song, Hot in Your Cold. Oh my god, love it. So many good models. Maybe with a bit of death, but hey, nothing's perfect. Cute. Barn Party harder than anyone else in the IK. Grim can probably party pretty crazy. I mean, you look at the Glimmer Imps and all the little imp things, they're pretty crazy. Who else? Gobbers seem like they can have a pretty good time. The troll whelps seem like they're pure chaos and just have a great time. Tharn are just super scary superhumans. And I feel like they take things way too seriously. You know, blood magic and all that. In fact, they seem to do a lot of the type of magic the Orgoth did. Tharn parties are awesome. Not an Imperial Assassin per se, but she was one of my favorite characters from the Eisenhorn series. Was there any other word on that, or did that just like die on the vine, the idea of the Eisenhorn live action show from GW? Yep, too many minis to paint these days. So daunting, but so cool to process. You almost have to stand back and think on it. Grimkin don't party, they're here to work. I don't know, I feel like the imps have a good time. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my impression of it. Okay, just making sure I've gotten all the elements of her little corset here correct. Great, now I have that Katy Perry song in my head. Thanks. I don't like Katy Perry. What the heck? Beautiful. Oh, you're looking lovely, darling. It's normal to talk to your minis, right? You can use a bigger brush for her boots, and she's got her little Little booties on. I'm with Miranda here. Grimkin at a party. Just look at the slaughterhouse. Yeah. They just happen to mix the work-play thing really well. One could say that the state of the warp and the existence of the chaos gods is all sorts of karma for the 40k universe. Bad universe makes for bad gods. Well, why would it be so uniform then? Like, there's no exception to that, right? I mean, the Emperor is argued as possibly just another demon. And then, I mean, I don't know of any positive gods in the warp. Like, I guess there's Gork and Mork who seem like they just want to have a good old time. And I guess, you know, you could even argue that Korn is a bit of an optimist. He just, you know, likes the bloodshed and all the chaos, and enough so to bring orc war parties back to life so that they can go back to fighting as his eternal lava lamp. But I don't know. I feel like you still need contrast, because everything just starts to look the same. It's like, oh, Slanesh, that's the god of, you know, excess. And then you've got Zinch, which is the changer of ways. And you've got Korn, which is rage and rar. And then Nurgle and, you know, pus and grossness. Like, alright, nothing here is positive. I mean, I guess maybe Zinch, you could argue, because it's just plain change, but it never manifests in any wholesome way. So it just seems like an extremely reductionist view of the world that, I don't know, I know better than, so I don't find terribly appealing. But that's just not ignorant opinion. Yeah, no, Slanesh is definitely that. Grimkin are the result of partying too hard. There you go, Bills. Partying so hard, their neighbor Menoth had to ban them to the Shadow Realm. They just wanted to be left alone. Menoth was just like, hey, I own you too. And they're like, nah. Gremlin beach party. That's why the Grimkin are the good guys. They get the work-life balance more than the company I work for. More than a lot of us. I definitely struggle with that one, so I should take a page out of the Grimkin book. Well, looks like you're painting Katy Perry. No, she is so... This girl has it way more together than Katy Perry. Yes, I'm gonna do a thing with her hair that might look a little bit like that, but she has Gamora's skin. Not Gamora, Nebula's skin. I love it. I love this blue. It looks so pretty. Fire nav fertility, thanks to Morvana. Yeah. So ambiguous, maybe? There are a lot of gods of law in the old Warhammer lore due to the inspirations of Moorcock's books. So I need an opinion. I'm starting to play Adepticon 2022 events. Do I run some IK Requiem adventures? Starting to play. Yes, that makes sense. Yes, obviously. I mean, it'll be out by the fall, right? And so there will have been 4 or 5 months of it being, maybe even 6 months of it being out as a game before Adepticon. And I think it would be a great place to do fun demos with some pre-made characters. And there's a lot of other RPG stuff I think that happens at Adepticon. I mean, it's not the purpose of that convention, but I mean, I would vote yes. I don't know. What do you guys think? Ender's on board. We just finished our first Cursed City journey. Nice. Everyone, well. There's always that yin for yang. Slanesh does have a sense of humor, though. Keeps reincarnating Lucius the Eternal just to watch him die over and over again. That just sounds like the 12-year-old me daydreaming. Just being like a spiteful girl. Bring him back. I don't know if that's a sense of humor. I mean, okay, yeah, I guess you can link it to that, but it's just when you hear the same note over and over again, it's a little desensitizing. That's all I'm saying. Whereas, like, Morrow is a nice balance to Menoth, and is a nice contrast to Thamar as well. Like, that you have these different these different gods. And, you know, in the world of the IKRPG, both Morrow and Thamar were ascended. They started as human and ascended through sort of self-actualization. Whereas in the warp, it's like if you start developing and manifesting any powers, the Imperium comes and murders you because you might just open a hole to the warp, and then the whole freaking planet can need exterminatus. And it's like, okay, just seems really limiting. That's all I'm saying. She's got her cute little boots on. All right, we've got only a few minutes left, so I'm just going to do some broad stroke painting here. What's the blue color called? I forgot. It's actually a mix of the Signar Blue Base and Frostbite. So I mixed them together. Well, like probably 1 part base to 2 parts Frostbite, I think, to really get this color. This might be an actual color they have too, but it's not one that came out of the bottle. And so it's just a lighter Signar Blue, but you can see the sheen on here. I mean, she looks great. Very, very healthy. And she needs obviously a lot more detail added because you can see the little growths on like her shoulders and stuff. Those are going to be gray, kind of, you know, that scabby, dried color because they have these growths on there. I think we need some stories of spiteful 12-year-old Miranda. I was a brat. Oh my god, you wouldn't believe. Like tiny little megalomaniac Miranda was really, I mean, it was just ridiculous. Time to get on the list then. Yes, absolutely. So, all the encouragement coming from here, Travis. I will ply Flugwug the Fletcher. I love it. Corin keeps resurrecting that one band of orcs over and over because all they wanted was to fight demons. Yeah, I remember hearing about that wog they brought into the warp, I think, to fight like a whole bunch of demons, and it was just such entertaining. So good to hear you're feeling well, Christian. I wonder if that's an indirect reference to the Duncan, Idaho, and Dune setting. Yeah, she's got some paint. I just have to finish her. Thank you. I will have to make sure I post the finished figure. I think I might reopen my Instagram. I just need to organize my life a little bit. Excellent base coating there. See how clean you managed to keep it. I'd have colors slopped everywhere. Well, I mean, there are some bits that are, I mean, I'm just going to be totally open with you here. Like on her skirt there, it got a little messed up, so I'm going to have to clean that up a bit. But the rest of her base coating is coming along. I really am happy with how I cut it in for her corset top. I just have to get in a little bit more detail in there. Although I might just let a wash do that. No point in doing more work if you don't have to. So, there we go. I guess this is a good place to stop. Man, that 90 minutes went by fast. Thank you guys. It's super fun hanging out with you. And thank you, Travis, for telling me about the new Karchev and Deathjack amalgamation of strange proportions. She's not a Katy Perry model. You shut your mouth. Excellent base coating. Thank you. So, yeah, we'll see you guys in another couple of weeks, hopefully, and more on that to come, because I'm working on some stuff that I'm hoping to actually have finished by then. We'll see. We'll see. My Instagram these days only exists as the main way I message Ashley. Oh, I hope she's doing all right. Poor girl is also a little stress bucket. We really need to work on this. Organizing your life. I need that too, dude. Yeah. All right, I'll see you guys later. You have a wonderful week, and stay relaxed out there. Don't watch too much news, and don't be on social media too much, because it's bad for all of us. Love you.